What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's midday market recap. It's so good to be back to trading on Tuesday after yesterday's off day. Boy, it's been a crazy day so far this morning. Almost a 200% run on a particular stock that we are watching right now. And I want to go ahead and explain why it's running and why we look for particular catalysts such as this one when we're trading over-the-counter stock. Hi, my name is Brad. If you're not familiar with this channel, I find a lot of value and a lot of success in trading over-the-counter penny stocks, and I do this for a living. It's something that I do every day, and I also go live with you guys every day to kind of go over the overall market, why things are moving, and so lo and behold, it's called Own the Chaos, OTC's a little play on words. And if you're interested in joining our group of traders, and no matter what you're trading, I encourage you to check out my free platform. The link is in the description below. It's called WeTradeHQ. It's at WeTradeHQ.com. And we have people who come from all walks of life and trade in all different types of areas of the market, whether you're trading over-the-counter stocks like me, if you're trading options, Forex, big board stocks, cryptocurrencies, no matter what you're trading within the market, WeTradeHQ is the place for you. Go check that out for me. So, LVCA, guys. LVCA has been on a monster run so far, and I think there's a lot more room to go, and I'll explain why in just a second. Kind of welcome some folks here. Major Network, good to see you. I had to think about that one for a second. Connie, Jason, Ryan, Blade Runner, and Bob. Good to see you guys here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you real quick. Actually, you know what? First off, let me come back. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, give you a little bit of quick history lesson on LVCA and why I think it's running in particular right now, and why a lot of plays such as this take off. And so, Joseph Vaccaro, we've talked about this before if you follow my channel at length. It's been a while since we've mentioned Joseph Vaccaro because he's been pretty silent. But Joseph Vaccaro is an entrepreneur who buys shells of a stock that need some help getting current, and these have been dark or dormant for a while. Maybe he needs to get them reinstated. Oftentimes he does, and so the purpose of doing all of that, he buys these shells that nobody wants to deal with anymore, and gets them current, gets them to a point to where another company can come in and then basically go public. So another route, instead of going and doing an IPO like we've seen Facebook or Snapchat or some of the other big ones do, you'll see an IPO, they enter into the market through that IPO. This is another route to do that. It's cheaper, it's a lot less headache to go around doing this. And so if a company is being, it builds itself up in the private sector and they want to go public, and maybe they just want to start out small, they want to go through the OTC, then they search out folks like Joseph Vaccaro, who builds up these shells and makes them look nice and pretty so that they can get in and start to be traded publicly on the OTC. It's a complicated It's kind of a complicated, strategy, I guess, or a route to do it, but it's cheaper and it makes a lot more sense for companies that are just starting out. So, obviously, we're companies like Facebook, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. These companies are much smaller, as a lot of them are in the OTC, and so they might go this route in order to avoid a lot of those fees and everything else that's associated with just an actual IPO. So, having said all that, I'll go ahead and share my screen here with you. And I want to talk to you about LVCA, because LVCA isn't necessarily Joseph Vaccaro, but it's his right-hand people and the Ballman couple, I will say. Maybe we'll call them a power couple, if you will. They are close with Joseph Vaccaro, and Barbara Ballman, who's one of his attorneys, took this over as a custodianship, and LVCA has been a long time coming here, but it looks like it's finally starting to develop. Now, the last one that Barbara Ballman took over, just to kind of give you a point of reference from a historical standpoint, was NUGS, or NUGS. It literally went, guys, from, pennies all the way up to $7 when they merged with another company. When another company came in and took over the shell that they built up, it went from sub-penny to over $7. It was quite a monster move. This is actually pretty typical of some of the ones that we've seen. They don't always happen this way, but it's certainly interesting to note that the share structure is quite the same. So if you look at the share structure here on OTC markets, OS is at 180,000 or 180 million, sorry, as far as the OS is concerned. You look at the same one for LVCA. It's pretty close to that same type of share structure. So it has the capability of making that kind of move. We'll see if it actually ends up doing that or not. But the reason why LVCA is moving today, we've already known that Barbara Bowman's been in charge of this for a while. She's had her name on it for a while. Like I said, this is now a verified profile. It's pink and it's current, just how they like to get it set up. And they came out with news today for the first time in forever, stating that Grapefruit Boulevard Investments is now moving in, it appears, moving in as a candidate to take over this shell. So if you look at the news here, LVCA has terminated its Tanzania mining enterprise, which is what LVCA was before, and GBI is a California licensed and fully compliant cannabis manufacturer and distributor with facilities located in the Coachella Industrial Cultivation and Ancillary Cannabis Park in the city desert of Hot Springs, California, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it goes into a lot more detail, but a cannabis company is coming in and taking over this, this shell, which is a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal. It has moved already. If you can see here, obviously, that based off of the chart, it's already gone up from around 3 cents, and it's had highs of almost 6 cents, so it's gone up. And it closed on Friday. Let's pull this up here on my equity feed scanner. So it closed on Friday at 2.5 cents. It's had highs of 6 cents today, so about 180% move. Lots of folks within our group have been sitting on LVCA for a while now, and LVCA is finally looks like it's starting to make that move. I'm not saying that this is going to be a $7 run, guys, but it's definitely still has potential, I think, and room to run. We've only got $112,000 in volume, so if we start getting volume picked up here, and perhaps you know, more catalysts come out and more light gets shed on what this company's actually doing with LVCA, maybe they'll go through a ticker symbol change. I imagine that that may happen if they officially go through this merger. And so something definitely to keep an eye on. Folks within my mentorship group played this very nicely. They've been adding to their position. This is one of those ones that I like to tell folks, you know, when you're trading over-the-counter stocks, penny stocks in particular, the strategy that I always like to find, that I find a lot of success in, is that once you build your account to a certain point, there's that core group of stocks that you see long-term potential on. You know, of course, there's those ones that, like, you know, they're very volatile. They go up, they come right back down, and so those are the ones you probably would more likely play on a short-term basis. Where something like this, like LVCA, you know, for me, it's INKW. A lot of people have their long-term, you know, stock that they just see value in, and so they'll accumulate that position. So that's what happened with LVCA, and so it's had highs of about 180% so far. We'll see if that continues. I think personally, once the volume really starts to come in on LVCA, when more light gets shed on what exactly it is that they're doing, then it certainly has that potential to really make a monster move. I'm not saying that it will, again, full disclosure, but it certainly has that potential based off of the share structure and everything else they have going on with it. It is very interesting to see. If you look, and I'll share my screen again, if you look at NUGS, again, as a point of reference, you know, this is the daily chart here. So it took a while for it took a, you know, what this was when things were finally announced. This was December 15th of 2017. And then it didn't actually get all the way up to $7 until January 3rd. So this could be one of those things where it just needs some more eyeballs on it. People need to see what's going on with it. They need to know a little bit more about this grapefruit company. This cannabis company is Grapefruit Boulevard Investments. That's what it's called. So it's a cannabis company. And so I think once more light gets shed on what it is that they're doing here, I think that there's definitely potential for this to certainly make a move. And that it is important to note, too, that I forgot to mention that the NUGS is also now a cannabis company, which they were not before. And the other parallel here is that it was a Tanzania mining enterprise was LVCA, so was NUGS, hence the ticker symbol NUGS. It was a gold company, if I'm not mistaken. So lots of parallels here with LVCA. Again, I'm not saying that it will make that kind of move, but I think even getting in at this price point could lend you a nice little profit if in fact, it ends up doing the same type of move that NUGS did. And this is just based off of history and things that have gone that way before. So not saying that it's going to again, but it's certainly interesting to see how that is developing and how it's exactly how NUGS developed. So from a merging standpoint. So, you know, why did this move? It moved because of that particular catalyst. The major catalyst within the OTC that everybody loves to see is those merger plays. And if it's merging into a company that has a lot of potential, people go nuts over it. And so that's why it's moving the way that it's moving. I like the share structure here. It just needs a little bit more volume to really get that thing moving. And we'll see if that actually ends up playing out. So anyways, let me go ahead and comment on something here. Mining the cannabis. Yeah, it's a big profession change. It's not a profession change, though. Like, that mining company is no more. That's basically what it comes down to. The Bowman Group took over that shell because it was a shell. That company basically went out of business. So they were mining at one point. Now they're not anymore. They want to sell it basically to, and this is all in its most basic form so that you can clearly understand what is happening here. They're trying to basically give it over to this Grapefruit Boulevard company, which is in the cannabis industry. So, anyways, that is all I got for you guys today. Just your little quick tip and midday market recap. And yeah, so if you guys are interested, if you're visiting for the first time, please, if you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and give it a subscribe and a thumbs up. Certainly would appreciate that. And guys, thanks so much for the response yesterday on the YouTube video I put out yesterday about trying to build my brand and build what it is that we've already started. I'm certainly looking forward to all of that. If you're interested in what it is that I'm talking about, you have no idea, I'll go ahead and put a link up here somewhere in regards to that. And that way, if you're watching this at a later time, you'll be able to find out what it is that we're talking about. So thank you guys so much. If you're interested in checking out our free trading platform, it's called WeTrade HQ. The links are down in the description. And also, I did mention that I go live every day with my mentorship group. There's a link down in the description for that as well. I go live with you guys a half hour before the market opens, and I'm there a half hour after it opens, and we can go over what's moving, what may move. Is there potential plays to be made in the market at the open? It's the most volatile time, and so I think it's the most important time for all of us to be there and kind of like learn and grow and become better traders overall. I show you how I find success in doing all of that right at the open. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, I will see you all before the bell, and B Smith is out. Take it easy, folks.